So first things first, there's so many things that you might be looking for in a partnership that this is just a spattering of them, right? So is it that as an organization, you're looking for market penetration? Who can I partner with to get that? Who can I partner with to gain respect for what we're doing? And that might be partnering with somebody that's already in the space. Again, there's so many reasons that you might want to partner for respect. It might be about cleaning up something that went wrong, right? There's also obviously funding, that by partnering in a certain way, whether that's with another company that brings you that respect, that then is going to trigger more funding, or it might be a partnership with an investor that ultimately is a straight line to investment or funding. Access, how do you reach certain technologies? How do you reach certain audiences? Scale. And as I talk about all of this, remember, this is not a one-way street. It's not that you're always, as an entity, looking for a partner that's going to bring you these things. You might find people that come to you looking for these as well. So you're going to be playing both sides of the coin, depending on who that partner is. So scale. Maybe there's a partner that you can bring on that's going to help you reach scale, whether you're in production and you find that the two people that are sewing pieces in your garage ain't going to reach the scale that you need to get that to service that big order. Maybe it's a trial opportunity that you've got some type of product that's coming out and you want to find a way that you can distribute that cost effectively, quickly, where if you were to build up your own chain of supply, it would be too long, so it wouldn't really, it just is too much money and time that's wasted. Constituent participation. It could be that you or the partner you're looking to partner with has a constituency that is key to your success, or that is open to, you believe is open to what you have to sell. And so that could be it. Are you looking for a business soulmate? I know that there's a lot of people that come to the Preccelerator that, whether it's a technology partner or some other type of person to help run the business, that's certainly a partnership that's huge. And then of course there's the someone to make all of your decisions and build it for you. If you're looking for that, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have to be really clear on what your brand is all about and what partnership is required to make that happen. So as we're dealing with this, it's always a question of, what do you know about that partner? You know, is it that they're on the market? It could be that they're on the market to buy, to sell, whatever. Do they need what you've got? Are you already in a space that they are lacking? Is there a history involved that could be a benefit to you or to them by working with you? Your audience, whatever. So that might be why they want to get into partnership. Are they testing the waters or curious? Are you testing the waters? Like, why would people want to partner with you, right? So we've already talked about the reasons why you would want to partner or what end goal you're looking for, but it's also what is that piece? What is that chip that somebody has that becomes part of your negotiation, for better or worse? Has that potential partner had success in your space that you can learn from them? A very important thing that a lot of people don't really think about with partnerships is how committed are they to carrying through? And a lot of times that's very hard to tell. I will say that the easiest way to start figuring out is doing the research. So even if it's looking through TechCrunch or whatever, looking at who people have partnered with, looking at the news of, you know, companies that develop products and they partner with this company, but that's only for 3 months and then they announce a new partnership, and like, so it's like, what is going on there? I think research is really underrated, and that goes into all of these pieces. So again, the receptive to partnering. Are these companies that you might want to partner with, are they even receptive to having somebody partner with them? Or are they looking to have everything in their closed environment? So research, can't convey enough about how important research is. And whatever search that is, if you can mute yourself, that would be awesome. with research, it's a great barometer, not only to test your theories about what your brand is and what your company is all about, what your product is all about, but it's also a good way to protect yourself from, look, I've been a founder, I've started a number of companies. I know that excitement, that energy of, oh, I've got this figured out, my gut intuition, all that type of stuff, blah, 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 blah. It is incredibly helpful by doing that research to figure out if what your gut is really aligns with what the environment is. And certainly looking at who you might want to partner with and the why they want to partner with you or the why you want to partner with them, research is key. And it's not just about looking online. It's talking to people. It's looking at the businesses. So if it's a product, it's looking at those stores that sell and even going in and asking when we're not in lockdown, hey, what's the response to this product? There's so many ways that people are willing to give information that it's just a matter of you taking that information and playing off of that to then make your decisions. Huge thing. When you know, or when you're looking at who do I partner with, what am I looking for from them, it's what do you expect? Like, why even go into partnership? Is it influx of millions? Are you looking for considerably more customers or more influence or deeper market share? You know, is it that you're just looking for a trigger for your next round? Is it as simple as a joint press release? All these things, like there's some of these that are huge sized pieces and some that are so small, but again, that's a matter of what do you need? And some people just need something as small as a paper that's a joint press release, right? Then there's the big one is you want them to build it for you so the masses can come flooding in. I sort of say that in jest, but there are a lot of people that will look at, okay, I've got this idea. I happen to be lucky enough to have money to then pay for a vendor, which we'll call a partner, to build this. It's very important that you know what you're looking for and what you're paying for and and when I say paying, it's not just in money, it's in your time, it's in your sweat equity. It's in, like, we know that this stuff consumes us, that we're thinking about it all the time. So what do you want to have consume you? Do you expect shared revenues so that you buy, oh yes, Len.
Yeah, Jonathan, you mentioned something very interesting. So in the context of a partnership, sometimes it is a vendor. Sometimes it's somebody you're engaging with as not a customer, but someone who's going to provide service or product for you. I think sometimes people forget that a partner is not just an equity partner or just somebody who's providing a free service.
Yes. So just to clarify, when I'm talking about partnership in the realm of this entire presentation, and I'll get into more details of the different types, but I'm thinking, you know, partnership for reach, for, as I've already said, marketing influencers, but also like CTOs or any staff, a vendor, an investor, a mentor, a business partner. It's all these different types of plays that are considered a partnership.
So it's
right?
very
And
broad. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it about acquisition? Is it, are you looking to have a letter to frame and hang on your wall, or to fall in love and live happily ever after? Again, there's so many other things that you might be expecting, but all I'm saying is be very clear and have it all driven by your brand. And I keep on going back to brand, because that is your book. Like, that's the piece that you can double check against. Am I going in line with what I need to be doing for the success of my business, whatever you're doing, right? And the only way you can do cross-checking is if you are very clear at the beginning. And I'll go into later about how that clarity at the beginning helps immensely in terms of making sure that you're able to get what you're expecting. There's so many moving parts to help you get there, right? So there's the negotiation aspect of what's the partnership going to look like, the clear delineation of expectations. What do you expect? What do you expect from your partner? The executing on your deliverables. again, not just for you, but your partner, so that if it's clear of what is to be executed, you then can come back and say, hey, this ain't happening. So whether that's selling products for your business or selling your home, you've got to know what is expected and what they need to be delivering. You need to be holding the partner accountable as well as yourself. You can't say, oh, you didn't deliver on this when you, in fact, when they were waiting for documentation from you to begin with. And that is also a very good sign of a partner when they say, I'm working on these things, please hold tight until I get this to you, because that is what's going to help you all move better together. I always look at, in a partner, somebody that's always grabbing the opportunity to show more or do more, as opposed to just doing the lowest possible, just to be able to tick the box. Oh, I said I was going to do that, I'll do that. It's always, I'm sure you've all had the same experience, that when you've got that person you're working with or that entity you're working with that goes above and beyond, there's so many byproducts of that, from better product, but also trust. And when somebody delivers more for us, to me, it enthuses everyone to say, what's more, what's possible, how can I push the button better? Finding solutions. It's not always, the problems are going to arise. So you've got to always be looking for the solutions as opposed to just bringing up the problems. With those problems that arise, it's also about being agile, right? And I'm not just talking about agile development versus waterfall development. I'm talking about things change. And again, it's being a founder or an entrepreneur is very much about, this is my vision, and bam, 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 I'm going toward it. Things change. You've got to constantly be having your eyes open to look at what's going on around you and be agile so that you can, I'm not saying change your product entirely, but sometimes if you're talking about, I've got this amazing down jacket and we are going through a heat wave that's going to last 4 years, that doesn't really bode well for you. So I would hope you would be agile in your product development at that point. And one thing that is, people always say, I need to listen more, but they don't. Just the act of being quiet and listening to what the others have to say is groundbreaking. If there's anybody that's listening to this live or later, challenge yourself. If you feel uncomfortable with silence, think about embracing the silence. The information that comes up, even like, let's go into any of these pieces up above, negotiation. Silence and negotiation is a huge opportunity, because that's when the people that are uncomfortable will start just spewing stuff and perhaps give more than they would have given otherwise. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, you should not make it equitable in terms of whatever negotiation you go into, but the listening is perhaps more important than the question that was asked to begin with. Granted, I think that good questioning is key. If you ask, and you can ask the most amazing question in the world, if you don't listen to the answer, it's useless, right? So with all of those things, those are the moving parts that will help you. But we also know that, surprise, things can blow up. So it could be that in your partnership, your presence was diminished. Could be that the larger player took over entirely, so you have no end benefit on it. Demand was greater than you expected, and then you look like you have egg on your face because there was more orders for your product, you couldn't do it. You just weren't prepared, which is sort of like that demand being greater. There was miscommunication that caused breakdowns so that you weren't able to get the delivery across. Environment change, we already talked about that. God forbid you're developing jackets when we're going into a heat wave. The benefits weren't clear, both to your partners and to the consumers. You had the wrong expectations of what was going to come, or they really weren't the droids you were looking for. It's all of these things. It's sort of like, I look at it, the whole thing with the genie, and if you had the 3 questions to ask of the genie once you rub the lamp, and invariably in storytelling, there's always like a bad side to the question, right? So you could say, I want to be the richest person in the world, then you get all of the money and everybody else has no money, so the money means nothing, right? There's like a negative byproduct to what you think is positive. So it's that challenge of what can I ask for that there can be a positive all around, that there's not some other negative. Those are sort of the same things that you should be asking for when it comes to partnerships, right? Because then it's sort of risk assessment and it's risk mitigation, right? So all those things that we just talked about in terms of what are the pieces, those moving parts, those can help with removing the surprise that can blow up any partnership. When you engage a partner that's executional, whether they're a vendor, whether it is truly multiple organizations working together to achieve something, your ability to have clarity on what you're looking to do, whether it's a matter of doing sort of this wireframe schematic of what the user experience is going to be for a part of your product to then deliver, or having the pieces that you expect, whether it's a technical writing of what your functionality is, what point you expect those to be in. All of this, what I'm pointing at is your preparation is immense in terms of getting what you need from the partner in order to achieve your goals. So it could be your business plan that you deliver to that partner so they get the full picture of what you're doing. And I want you to think about, with all of this, as you're going out looking for that partner, whether it is in writing or whether it's in a meeting, it's really laying out the story of where you're coming from and laying the groundwork so that that partner or vendor in this case can come back with the right information to be able to help you reach that goal. Because the more you rely on them to define or try to define what your story is, the less control you as a brand have on that. And that's something that, again, there's a tendency that time is of the essence and all of that. It's what can we get out sooner than later? Don't give up on what you've already developed, and let that be aligned, because ultimately, when you go out for a proposal, you really want to look at how they respond to that proposal. And I would venture, the more questions you get, probably the more good questions you get, the better off you are. And there are a lot of people that get defensive, especially with starting a company. If you're in pitch sessions, if somebody asks a question, unfortunately for a lot of people, the immediate response is defensiveness. But just always remember, with all of this, if somebody came back without asking any questions, go back to the personal relationship. Often when somebody isn't getting upset and is just letting things roll, it's that they don't care, right? So think about that when you're dealing with looking for a partner. It's what questions are they bringing to the table? What perspective are they bringing? With a lot of stuff that we do with Kaleidoko, we're helping our clients that are usually so in the weeds of what am I manufacturing and what am I distributing, that they've completely lost sense of what they're delivering. So if you look at your partners, executional partners, vendors, whatever it is, as that ability to take you out of the weeds and get you to a higher level of looking at things, it's amazing what can be brought to the table. And it's amazing how much you can be benefited by those questions, whether you choose to partner with them or not. But those are the things that I would look for with any kind of, with anybody, because I do believe that with your vendors, yes, you could look at them as, I'm paying you to do this and that's what you're going to deliver. But if that's the case, it really doesn't matter who you're working with. I would think you want to have somebody that's more of a partner that, as we talked about before, going above and beyond. They're more likely to go above and beyond if they have a good foundation of what you're looking to do, and then they find that there's an avenue to be able to make that even better in partnership. To bring it on home, looking at considerations, if we were to boil this down into steps of what to do, it's know what you're looking for. don't let others define your brand, right? You allow the brand that you've set up to be your Bible for the things that will make the most sense in terms of partnerships. Appreciate your position. All participants are key. So whether, as we've talked about, whether it's you as client and the other as vendor, it doesn't mean that you can be a jerk to the vendor because you're paying them, right? It's everybody. You wouldn't include them into your circle if you didn't feel like they were key to the success of your company. So we've always got to appreciate where we sit, and whether that's, again, knowing when to be quiet or when to speak. And I find that that's something very key. Keep your eyes open, because opportunity does reveal itself everywhere, right? It's far too easy to get your blinders on and just barrel through and do stuff. With partners, you never know where they're going to come from. With opportunity, I talked about that NG Connect program that led to a completely new business. Who knows where that's going to come from, and what partnerships will lead to that. Don't be afraid to cut bait. Again, as in personal relationships, toxic ones are always a drag, right? No matter what vision you have for, oh my God, if I could just make this work, it's going to be, you got to be realistic sometimes and just say, you know what? I had really high hopes for this and I put a lot into this, but I can't put any more in. And those are the times that you really have to not be afraid to cut bait. And then lastly, all partnerships are not created equally. You've got to constantly analyze resources, constantly assess how things are going, what can change, what can be better, what maybe is not working out right, and always ensure delivery. What you've asked for, what you've promised, all of these are very strong pieces to the equation for partnership. And then, as I said, everything's a dance. You've constantly got to be thinking about who's the partner, what's their style of events, do you want to be dancing with them? If you're a founder, an entrepreneur of a company, you are eating, breathing, sleeping what your goal is. And you really need to be thinking about who do you want to be dancing with to find success. And I leave you with, hopefully you've been inspired to see things in a whole new light. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time, Jonathan@Kaleidoko.com, at Tavss. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can find our website, Kaleidoko.com. Always happy to help out best I can. And I really appreciate your time and your questions and your participation. And if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to pipe in.
Anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself. I've unmuted all of you. Vince?
What? No, I'm thinking about a bunch of things. I get Jonathan's ear all the time, but what this has sparked for me is like some discussion in my own mind about how do you start like making lists of partners you want to have, given that these outcomes that Jonathan's outlined and executables are on that path, but really the beginnings of this process. Like, how do you think of those partnerships and start making lists and kind of organizing that process to be effective is kind of what things that I pulled away from this presentation. But thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Absolutely. And one thing that Vince, you bring up, if I didn't nail it enough in the call, is it keeps you on check. By writing all these things and bouncing them against what you're meant to be doing, it makes sure that you don't go after things that are not going to be fruitful, or that might sound like it's a perfect partnership, but when you really look under the covers, it ain't. So that's another good thing to keep, again, with resources always being slim, being mindful of all that truly helps.
Super. Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any. Jonathan, thank you so much. Brilliant presentation. I personally got a lot out of it. I've been doing partnerships for years, so just hearing some of the things that I do that reinforce what I've been doing is very helpful.
That's great. Thank you.